Hey everybody, let me know if you can hear me okay. I was talking for a while, asking if people could hear me, but my microphone was muted. Fantastic. Hey, shout out to Matthew. Anyone else can hear me? See my screen okay? Should be the dashboard over there. Hey, Jennifer, Brian, see a familiar name over there. Jonathan, how you guys doing? So, do we have any new members, new signups in the line? Anybody that does not have dashboard access? Any shout outs from any newbies? Any veterans? Okay. I usually get asked whenever we kick off here if this is going to be recorded. They are recorded. In fact, if you're ever going to look at other recordings, you would go underneath pre-sale into marketing library and you'll see the previous webinar recordings. We have some good ones. So since I was muted while I was kicking this off, welcome to the VIP biweekly webinar series. My name is Paul Steinmetz. And today we're going to be going over some key dashboard features. I'm going to be taking some general Q&A on the dashboard and on services, so I'll kind of let you guys help navigate this webinar. So if you have any questions that you want me to go over during the webinar, give a shout out in the same box you're talking to me right now, and I will address them as I go forward. So I'll start out by talking about some of the tools. How many of you have seen underneath pre-sale one for plan recommendation? Have any of you used plan recommendation before? Because if you say you've never used it, then I'm going to explain it because I'm going to assume everybody on has never used plan recommendation. So Matthew says he's used it once. Is Matthew the only one that's used it? Brian has used it once. Jennifer's used it as well. Played with it but never used it. Okay. Any feedback on your experience using plan recommendation? So the point of plan recommendation underneath pre-sale is to submit a request for a quote. So in other words, you may have a client, so for example, they've got a couple different locations, they have unique needs, and instead of you combing through all of our services, you want a recommendation on what they need. So you go into here, fill it out, give the website, if it is SEO, the number of keywords, yada, yada, and then we'll get back to you on a recommended plan. And Matthew, Brian, Jennifer, if you have any feedback on plan recommendations you've gotten in response, I'd love to hear them. So that's what it is. Now, we're probably most popularly known as being a white label SEO provider, as our branding on the website clearly states. I'm wondering, and I'd really love feedback from you guys, and this is pertinent feedback to have at this point in time, by the way. How useful would it be for you if we were able to offer keyword research during your pre-sales phase? So you have a meeting with a client, maybe you've ran an SEO audit report and you're talking to your client, and you know, it would really help if you could go over keyword research. I had oddly enough, I'm remodeling my house and I had a contractor come in and quote me a ridiculous amount of money to do a remodel. And I said, you know, I'm into digital marketing. He said, well, we should swap services some. So, and in home remodeling, there's so many different keyword categories. So I'm trying to figure out how to use these keyword research tools for them. And it really is a bit of a nightmare. So I was thinking, well, I wonder how in demand it would be if we were able to provide keyword research for you utilizing one of the tools that's out there and provide that to you if it would help you close any of your deals. So aside, Jonathan says that would be amazing. Matthew says very. Jennifer says that would be amazing. Anyone else? Sean, Jennifer? Does anyone want to speak up that would want to unmute themselves and talk about what kind of keyword research you would need? Because I'm going to have to push this to get it through. But that's one of my thoughts to bring that in. And I'm wondering, and so here's a good question to pose to you guys. Now, since we've already gotten through plan recommendation, there's not much more to look at except for, hey, you need a custom quote, go there. Part of my thought would be, what if we could have it to where when you filled out plan recommendation, there was an option to say, and by the way, check, I want keyword research done on this. So we come back, we give our recommendations on what we looked at, but then attached full keyword research for you. cool would that be? And then plan recommendation, I would assume, would become very popular, would it not? Would you not use it more if it did keyword research? Sometimes I look at plan recommendations and we have some really good written recommendations and things that come back, and sometimes there's just not a lot to comment on, and it's more, hey, this package is recommended. But sometimes to recommend a particular package, especially if it's an SEO, there are things like keywords. And then so we have the SEO audit report, right? So here's what I'm looking at feedback from you guys. On the SEO audit report, let's say if you ran the SEO audit report and gave it to a client, is that something that you would want to run first for those of you that do use the SEO audit report? Would you run an SEO audit report first, send it to a client and go over it with them, and then want to do keyword research? Or would you rather do keyword research first and audit report second? Or would you rather not do the audit report and just have keyword research? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Your feedback is paramount. I'm telling you, it's paramount. Matthew said, I would use it more because it would help build the vision of the customer. Absolutely. And you know what? It's not even necessarily always that it's the keyword search volume data and all of that. But, these keyword research tools around now are fantastic. They pull out not only the keywords, a ton of keywords, the search volume, traffic behind it, the competition level, how much it would what would the cost per click be in pay-per-click, but then also the competition level in pay-per-click and some other variables. But I tell you what, a spreadsheet like that can be overwhelming, but it makes you look really intelligent that you have that amount of data on their industry. I find it to be very powerful for me personally. If I'm in SEO sales, SEO audit report, awesome. But then like the next phase of diving down into it, keyword research. Jonathan would rather have it together at the same time. So Jonathan, you would rather, so what, would you have like an initial meeting with the client before you would request the keyword research? Because that's where, on our end, if we're gonna offer it, of course, it'd be better if you spoke to a client first and they're, Sean says keyword first. Wow, Sean, keyword research before the SEO audit. That's interesting. I guess I could see that though. But you'd want to you would want to profile the lead first, right? Like make initial contact with them, have an intake session with them, figure out their target market and all of that, then request the research, and then the audit report, I assume. Sean, what's the logic in doing keyword research before you go over the SEO audit report? Let's see here. Sorry, guys, I just messed up all my questions. Jennifer says, I found myself needing to do the keyword research first on my own before preparing an SEO audit. I hear you there. Jonathan says, is there a way to have keyword research tied into the SEO audit? Keyword research can get kind of crazy. I think I'd rather have it on a separate document, not only from our standpoint, the software development to get it all integrated into that PDF format, but also me personally, I wouldn't want to keep my keyword research in a PDF style format because I want it like on a Google Doc or an Excel sheet so I can, a Google Sheet, for example, so I can sort through the sheet, delete a row, highlight something, work with it, manage it. You know what I mean? Like in a consultation. And of course, in a PDF, you can't do any of that. Rod says he'll do the audit and keyword research as a complete presentation. Anyone have any shout outs to favorite keyword research tools that you're using? I think the latest keyword research tool, I took a look, of course, Keyword Planner, but I just had, I'm trying to find it right here, guys. I just paid $90 to test a keyword tool today. I think it was a Keyword Planner. That's what I want to say it is. Matthew says, I like to ask them their important keywords, tell them I'm going to do some homework so that I can have some good intel to share with them when we talk. Then we have the keyword research. I assume that's what you're saying. And then you sit down with them and go over the research and figure out, right, the target market that you're going to go after. I've seen also, for those of you that are fairly deep in web design, I've gone over keyword research before with clients that want to build a website before while mapping out the pages to the website to figure out like what should be included. Like for example, with a home remodeling company, maybe they really have almost little to no interest in I don't know, concrete design, right? But maybe they have the capability to sub it out, subcontract it, and maybe there's a lot of trending search volume for that. So we want to include that in the web design build, a page for concrete design. And so some design companies, I mean, if you're going to do on page and set up a site properly, keyword research can be done even to figure out the structure to a website. Brian, I like your logic on that. Do the audit report first to see if there's an interest, then do the keyword research. But how are you guys currently doing your keyword research? What systems are you using and who's doing it? And how long does it take you? And then the debate, right? Should you really get into keyword research before locking down the SEO deal or after? And I've had very significant debates on both hands. Some people say I don't do keyword research beforehand. I don't need to. If you have good sales skills, why would you need to go that deep into research? And then of course I've seen people the opposite way. Kat, good point. Keyword research first so that we know what are the best keywords to enter into the audit report to get more accurate score. Yeah, well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, Jennifer backs that point. Sean, for many client main keywords from existing product and service description, yeah. So Jennifer, you're using Moz Explorer for keyword research. Of course, you can use the Google Keyword Planner for free if you have an AdWords account. That's interesting. Well, so far from what I'm hearing is the overall consensus is that if we were able to provide you with keyword research beforehand, it would help. I'm wondering, how many of you wish you had keyword research pre-SEO sales phase, but aren't willing to do it yourself, or not sure about it, but wish you had it? And how many of you are currently doing it yourself, but wish that you were not? And is there anyone that can say, yes, I am doing my keyword research currently, and I'm fine doing it, and I like doing it, and it doesn't take me much time, and I don't need help doing it, so don't bother offering it? Brian says, depends on the client, but most clients do not worry about keyword research much except for their most general keywords, but for more sophisticated clients may benefit from the advanced keyword tools. So you guys do understand one of the benefits to not doing a bunch of keyword research ahead of time is not getting into the great keyword debate pre-sales. It can drag out a sales process. And I also want you to keep in mind, right? And this is going to be one of the downsides. If you're gonna like, let's say you have a keyword research report with a couple hundred keywords on it or 50 keywords on it, and if you are going to show the search volume of those keywords to the client, then what's the downside? They're going to gravitate and stare only at the largest keyword with the largest search volume that may have 10 or 20 times more than any other keyword, and that's the only thing that they're going to care about. That's the only thing they're going to look at your work reports for, and you're going to get backed into a corner over the most competitive keyword. How do you combat that? And so how do you guys deal with that are currently doing your keyword research? Do you show the search volumes? Do you take out the most competitive keywords before even showing it to them to avoid that? Because I assume that's the internal conversation that we're going to get into. Okay, Matthew, you're saying that you do show competitiveness with the search volumes. But don't you sometimes get a client that looks at search volumes on some keywords that, of course, is going to be the most competitive and says, that one, I want that one. So, for example, if they're an attorney in New York, they want the keyword New York attorney that it's got a couple thousand search volume, whereas a longer tail version of it might have like 30 search volume. Yeah, I hear you, and that goes back, as Matthew, as you're kind of alluding to, is to more, I like to say, traditional SEO consulting, and that's where you got to start consulting with them, even if that means, well, that one's not realistic. Chances are we won't be able to rank for that one. And Matthew says that you color code them. Well, yeah, and that's why I like the idea of providing keyword research in a spreadsheet format. Particularly, I like Google Sheets because it's in the cloud. It's easy to open. You don't have to download anything or have any program to open it. And then, of course, color coding on it. I mean, it's a sheet. It's easy. Yeah, well, for me, one of the kingpins is, of course, showing keyword research that shows their respective ranking as well, which is where things get kind of hectic because showing a client's ranking for every single keyword researched is intense, right? But yeah, that's powerful. Any shout outs to that? Keyword research that includes rankings. How many of you, when you show a client keyword research, show them where they're currently ranking for those keywords? Because there could be a lot of keywords in that research. There could be 100 keywords in that research. Do you show where they're currently ranking as well? Like, for example, if you had a client that wanted to rank for keyword New York attorney, and if you only just looked at the keyword alone, you'd say, oh, that's impossible. That's not going to happen. What if they're already ranking 5th on the first page? Well, it's very possible, right? So no one's showing rankings alongside the keywords that are researched in the research phase? Yeah, makes sense. Oh, shout out to, yes, I've used Wincher.com for this. That's interesting. So Rod is saying that he uses Wincher.com for the rankings. Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. Okay, well, I'll see what I can do on that subject matter, and it's kind of a back and forth debate, and we'll see what we would be able to do. What if, and now here's something I'll pose back to you. If I'll take this conversation back up to the executive committee over here. And of course, what's going to come up, of course, there's labor hours and time that goes into doing keyword research. Well, of course, obviously for you, the most ideal situation is that keyword research is simply provided. But to cover that, if we were to come back and to say, okay, well, we could do keyword research with X amount of credits per month for you, is it something that would be worth paying for you? Or if you had to pay for it, even if it's just, I don't know, what is keyword research worth for a client? I mean, how long would it take you to do on your own? Is it worth, is it worth $5 a keyword research? Is it worth $1? Is it worth more? Any shout outs on that? And then I'll wrap up the whole keyword research subject matter, but it helps me to navigate this conversation further. Jennifer says, I'll be willing to pay. And then, of course, the big question is, Jennifer, what's it worth? I don't know. I suppose if I'm looking at myself in a retail environment, and if I had to sit down and do that keyword research, and if it took me 30 minutes, well, if it took me 30 minutes, I'd be willing to pay $5 for it. That's without a question. That's for sure. If it was done well, yeah. Okay, Brian says it would use for some of them, but not for all of them. I would think it would be a heck of a good, I would think it should be able to help you close a client. Okay, see what we can put together. All right, on with this. So underneath this, I wanted to go ahead and go back in and explore in pre-sale. Well, actually, I get a lot of questions on Marketing Library. So let me visit back through this. Is there anyone on the line that has not been through the Marketing Library? I want to start touching on this most of the time. Okay, now let me just remind you of the Marketing Library. It's not that well organized. And we have a new education and training whole section in development to be released that is cutting edge. It's really, really nice. But for now, this is what you have. So dashboard training, keep in mind in pre-sale down in Marketing Library, you have all of your videos to go over the dashboard, okay? And this goes over everything from the SEO audit to the PPC audit, the social media audit, all of the features that are in the dashboard. So if you're looking for dashboard tutorial videos on anything that's in there, make sure that you find it in pre-sale, go down to Marketing Library. Don't worry about web design. Web design was actually some old templates that were created for agencies to use that didn't have an agency website. If you like sending out newsletters to keep your audience warm, we are active with newsletters on a monthly basis, and quite a bit of effort go into those newsletters. So they're meant to what? They're meant for you to white label and send the newsletter out to your active clients and your lead list, really. So shout out from Brian, I really like the newsletters. Look, guys, this is one of the better resources for you. Not only can the newsletter go out in an email to your sales pipeline, your cold and warm leads or hot leads as well, but also your existing clients. Why? Letting them know that you're staying on top of the industry. What are the latest trends? What's going on? It's keeping your brand up. It's good. So make sure you use the newsletters because they're done for you. All you got to do is pick it up and send it out. But what else can you do with the newsletter? Well, you should check some of these newsletters out. They're really good. You could put it on your blog. Don't like putting a blog, don't like writing a blog article to keep your blog relevant at least once a month? Well, you stick a newsletter on it. It's worth it as a blog article. And then of course, once you stick it on your blog, what else could you do with it? Well, share it to your Facebook or your Twitter or your LinkedIn. So it can also help you to keep at least your brand updated, right? And all you need is some information once a month. So, and the newsletter is meant for you to white label. So get in there and check that out. Presentations, I would skip. It's kind of old. We should probably take that one out for now. Client intake forms. So is there anybody that uses the client intake forms? Probably sounds like an odd question to ask, but we're revising this entire section on pre-sale, and what we're going to be releasing is going to blow you away. So that's what I'm not just arbitrarily asking, is anybody using this, by the way? It's actually because I have a point behind it, which is because we are evolving this section. Okay, so I assume people only use them after the sale. Some of these intake forms can be handy to use during a client consultation, but not that one. Anyhow, so okay. Videos, these are videos that, well, actually videos should be taken down. Let me take a side note on this actually. Coming in. Sorry guys, someone knocking on my door. I apologize. It's okay, you're good. Let's see here. Okay, case studies. All right. I just lost my comment thread. Sorry, guys. Case studies. I assume all of you have seen the newly updated case studies that come down to per vertical. Has anybody not seen these case studies? Again, it's in pre-sale. down in Marketing Library, we have the case studies. Okay, well, Matthew says he has not seen these. Go to pre-sale, go to case studies. So these are real case studies, and they're white labelable for you. It was very difficult to create white labelable case studies. But for example, if we were going to look at a case studies for an HVAC contractor, which by the way is a fantastic niche to get into, SEO success. So what we do is we take a real HVAC contractor. That's a real campaign that we have permission to write a generic case study off of. And we profiled what was their baseline, what was our approach to the campaign, which is SEO. But then we also chart and graphically represent their increase in traffic as well as page views and organic sessions, visits, and probably impressions as well on some of these. So it's nice to have a case study. If you don't have case studies on your website, I recommend that you do. I've been in focus groups that are business owners that are in like marketing training, and there are people talking about how to evaluate different marketing providers that are out there. And one of the things they were talking about in one of those focal groups was making sure that the provider you're looking into has case studies. Of course, anyone who's done enough marketing business should have at least one good case study, but you might as well use them. So these are available to be white labeled. You can put them on your website. And I don't recommend making them downloadable like we do. I recommend making them part of your web page. And then also what I recommend is that when you send a proposal to your client, you use a nice proposal platform like Proposify or PandaDocs or something that, because in my mind, a proposal is still 75% selling the product still, 25% saying what it is and what it costs. So somewhere in your proposal, make sure that you insert a case study. And if you have a case study about their industry, put it in your proposal. If you don't know how to put a case study into a proposal, and that blows your mind that anybody would do that, go look at Proposify for free. In fact, Kat says, what are some of the better proposal platforms? They're all kind of the same. It's for me more who has free templates that apply to SEO and digital marketing. So you've got Proposa.io, PandaDoc, and Proposify. But check this out. If you go into Proposify and you go into industries, right? So Proposify, industries, marketing, and oops. So in their templates, I can go down and I can look into, check this out, view template, proposal template for SEO in marketing. And then I'll click preview template and waiting for it to load. And of course, now once I get into here, this is what I would like to see your proposal templates look like. Now, I'll share this link with you, which you don't even have to log in to do. If you wanted to just screenshot all of this and then use it in a Google document or something, you totally could. So here, send to all. Sean says, I use them. I love it. So Sean, are you still using them? So as you can see on the overview, it would say, okay, what's your overview? You can just use their proposal template, overview and goals. Look, I can't stress how much I recommend people don't get lazy when you send proposals out. It's a really big deal. If you had an intake session with a client and you're going to talk to them about their business goals, which includes you because you're going to be the one that's positioning yourself to grow their video, summarize your conversation, summarize what your goal is. If you're a business owner and you're talking with a marketing agency who's positioning themselves to grow your business, there's nothing more comforting than to open a proposal and for them to start out the presentation with summarizing what the conversation was that you had with them about what your business problems are growing, what you want to see from marketing, what are your goals and objectives with marketing, and just summarizing it in a nice written summary. And how long would it take you to write a written summary? I don't know, even if it takes 15 minutes. And then, of course, you can have a bit of a template to that if you want to. Scope of services for your SEO should always be the same for the most part. Time frame, if you want to put it in there, it's short and sweet. Budget, and then it gets into the selling. So the why us, which is important. Team bios. And by the way, if you don't have a team, just bio yourself. Oftentimes doing business with one person in marketing is more powerful than doing business with an entire team. Contract, if you want to put it in their signature. But one of these tabs or portions of your contract should be case studies. And I'm trying to open up one that does have case studies. I'm surprised that none of them do. A lot of them do. Huh? Isn't that weird? There, simple case study. Anyhow, it doesn't have to be fantastic, but all you would do, whether you're using Google Doc or whatever you have, is grab our case study. It's a one-page case study, and it will fit perfectly in your proposal just to show them a case study. So again, case studies in the dashboard are there per vertical. I stress to you, put them in your proposal. Okay, thanks, Rod. Rod says, went over this in the last webinar, tell him to talk. Watch it. All right, and then the previous webinars, right? So if you want to go over the previous webinars, there they are. Now, what I want to visit next is in pre-sales and tools. How many of you have used this? This is a pre-sale tool to help you create, find the best SEO service for your client. Is there anyone that has used this tool to date? That's on the webinar. A lot of people have, of course. Okay, so Jennifer's used it, Matthew's used it. So Jennifer, you say that you found it very useful, but can you expand on that a bit? Would you use it again? Was it useful enough to use more than once? So how does this tool work? How this tool works is helping you to figure out the number of geo targets that you want to hit and the business categories that you want to go after. So instead of nailing everything down to just at a keyword level, choosing a business category to go after, right? Okay. So let's say that I was going to enter in a business name such as, well, I don't know why it's not picking it up. Oh, that's odd. Typically, whenever I start typing in a business name, doesn't it pre-populate it normally? Well, sorry guys, I should have had this pre-populated. Jennifer says, I used it to get an idea of which plan to propose to the client instead of using the plan recommendation. Okay. Any other feedback on the tool? Matthew says, does it send the recommendation to the client? No, it does not send the recommendation to the client. If you were on a webinar that we previously had, I talked about what modifications may we need to make to this to be able to use it in front of the client. And Jonathan, you mentioned I've used it once, but I didn't like the markup section there to use in front of the client. But so Jonathan, would you expand on that to say that if we did fix that, you would want to use it in front of a client? Okay, so you enter in their business information and you choose their business category, right? Which I am not seeing it auto-populate. So according to the business category, as well as the geo targets, the system is going to automatically detect the competition level and adjust it to the campaign that you would be needing. But at the same time, one of the things that this does is it also as you add different geo targets, right, it's going to color code them differently. So for example, major geos, minor geo targets as well. And then that's going to put a different workload level on it, which is going to impact the recommended SEO campaign to utilize. And that's for the geo target. And geo target does matter. On average, it's going to dictate how competitive something is. For example, business category attorney may not be competitive for a small town of 2,500 people, but of course, for something like Los Angeles, it's going to be very competitive. So that geo target is going to help to determine competition level, and then the business category. So for example, if I start adding business categories here, as I add the number of business categories, it's going to determine the level of plan that I'm going to need. And based off of that, it's going to generate a long list of potential keywords. And then you could even add your own keywords. I suppose if there's any area to request keyword research, it would be right about here. But the whole idea of this system is to be able to have a workflow to go through and not have to dive into everything at a keyword level, which would mean keeping things at a business category as well as a geo-target level. And then it allows you to set your markup percentage, right? What Jonathan was saying about how he doesn't like it when you get to the markup percentage, because this is a tool that was developed for you to use on your own behind the scenes, not in front of a client. But as Jonathan was stating, there could be some upselling advantages or some other advantages to using this with a client. Okay, so whenever you're done, it's going to say congratulations on growing your business with SEO. And then this is what could be shared with the client. It's pretty much a list of all the possible keywords that were auto-generated, and then the selected topics that could be targeted, the just suggested locations to target, and what the cost of the campaign would be. But furthermore on that, this whole keyword section here are potentials, and it's auto-generated. Looking for some feedback from you guys. Might it be better not to have these keywords here at all and to only have the selected topics and geo-targets, and then maybe after the campaign would close, solidifying the exact keywords? Rod says, make the markup a hidden setting to be assigned on a global or operationally on a per client basis. I agree. Okay, so then of course I can then hit create, and what does create do? Create just seems pretty much just creates a summary of what the recommended service is. And then what I'm about ready to download, if I open, this is what could be provided to the client. Of course, there's a lot of room for growth on this. If you were using something like Proposify, of course, you could even screenshot this and throw it in on one page, which would be like service breakdown or overview. Yeah. And then, of course, being able to implement your own categories. Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what, we have and if you have feedback on this when you're in the dashboard, you can click on live chat just to leave feedback, and it will get logged for us. That would be helpful if you're able to do that, because we want to do what we can to get the pre-sales tool up and going. Okay. So the next topic matter that I was going to address with you guys was a couple of things. Whenever you are, I assume that whenever you're in pre-sales, how many of you have ever opened up a demo project to show your lead or prospect your technologies as part of the sales phase? So of course, maybe you're doing keyword research if it's SEO. Maybe you have ran an audit report for paid advertising or social media marketing or SEO, which we have. But how many of you have cracked open the dashboard to show them your technologies, to show them your $1 million dashboard, white labeled with your logo off of your domain name? Has anyone ever cracked it open and used a demo? With full disclosure, I rarely, but for larger prospects, sometimes agencies will reach out to me and say, hey, Paul, you mind acting like you're part of my company and jumping on a phone call with my client? And of course, I normally would say, well, how big is the prospect? And if it's big, then yeah, I got no problem jumping on. And we were on a pretty big call the other day. It was probably worth to that agency profit of probably about 60,000 a year profit to him. So it was a big deal. It was a big lead. So we got on the call, and the first call went well, and it was obviously a really good lead. I mean, this woman was dialed in. She knew what she was talking about. She was saying the right things, and she's a buyer. But she said it was down to two different agencies that she's going to choose between, and she was teeter-tottering. And then I said to her, "Oh, but have you seen our technologies?" Because obviously, if you have a client or a lead and they're teeter-tottering between you and someone else, chances of someone else having technologies even close to ours is going to be very slim. Long story short, the next day we both jumped on a call. We popped open a demo account on the dashboard, and she verbally closed and favored us. And it was the dashboard that not only did the dashboard push it over the edge, it just blew it over the edge, because the other agency that she was considering had never shown her any of their technologies, and the reporting was limited to just what they sent to her as per what they said to her. Not only did we offer her a login and everything else, but also we were able to let her know that we have a mobile app with some real-time updates and etc. Okay, so I got a shout out from Jonathan, Kendall, and I guess that's all, that they do use the demo. I recommend that you use the demo. Just make sure you use this. Whenever you use the demo, make sure you've already white labeled the dashboard, meaning you put your logo on it and you domain masked it. Or just if you can do screen sharing and not show your domain. Also, what do you want to make sure whenever you do click on one of these demos? I'm preferable to demo project one. Make sure that you mute the chat over here on the right. Some of you might not know that this thing can get a bit annoying. I apologize for that. If you're clicking from page to page to page and this live chat keeps screaming at you, has that ever annoyed anybody? Am I the only one that thing is annoyed when you click around on here and it starts going crazy? And all of a sudden, more comments now than any other time in the webinar. Okay, so maybe the live chat has annoyed a few people. There's a mute button. I have asked for the mute button to be implemented. You're welcome. And it's been implemented, and it's about ready to get much more intuitive. It's not the most intuitive right now. So go over here and you just click on mute. Well, first of all, if it's open like this, just click this button to close it, and then click the mute button, and you can mute it. If you muted it for a lifetime, for example, and hit save, just make sure that if you ever want to chat, that you unmute it to be able to start chatting. And it should stay like that, whether you log out and log back in again. And so now if you're on a live demo, you want to make sure that you mute it, because if you're on a live demo, it's going to be a problem, right? To have like an agency platform popping up in live chat asking you. So yeah. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are happy about the mute live chat, definitely. So now you can open up your account and do a demo and not have to worry about that. So some of the things that I focus on in a live demo, one, if I'm selling SEO services to a client, what I recommend, one of the things that you want to focus on is, yeah, the keyword rankings a little bit. I don't go over link acquisitions on a live demo. I don't go over the SEO KPI reporting, although it's really impressive. What I show people on a live demo, I show them keyword ranking capabilities. I show them the SEO crawler audit. And the reason why I show them the SEO crawler audit is I'm letting them know that on a weekly basis, we're monitoring all these different factors on their website to make sure that it stays in compliancy with Google terms, to make sure that our rankings have the best probability of attaining the best possible outcome. And to do that, we need to be constantly monitoring things, and no one's going to pay staff to monitor things all the time, which is why we've developed cutting edge technologies to do that. And that will separate you from other competitors. And you can show them the on-page, the mobile friendly, and off-page monitoring if you want to. I just show them the monitoring. And then one of the things that I show them is the digital reputation. So if you're selling SEO, what's one of the local SEO ranking factors? Reviews. As per Moz and all the other top reporting and people out there that are considered authority in SEO data, that the review score in Google does impact, and their overall reviews to whatever impacts what. Anyone know the statistic that's out there? What percent of impact does reviews have in ranking in the GMB as well as local SEO? Somewhere between 10 and 15%. And not only does reviews important for that, but it's a conversion factor. So what goes hand in hand with local SEO? Reputation marketing, right? So, and Rod, yes, there are videos that go over each component of the dashboard in pre-sale, marketing library, find videos, and there's video tutorials in every section. Okay, so when you get into here, when you give the client access to the dashboard, right? And when they get access to the dashboard, it's not just for reporting. That's one of the things that I can stress the most. The dashboard is not just for reporting and client retention. There's features of the dashboard the client needs access to be able to utilize if they want to use it for certain management features, such as do-it-yourself reputation marketing. So when they would come in here, and Rod's asking, no, do you have a video that shows the whole dashboard as a sales teaser to my clients, right? No, I do not, Rod. That'd be good though, wouldn't it? Yeah, it monitors the reviews and mentions, but what I want to point out is that it also, it has a website widget for them, but what does it do that they would manage? Why would the client want to be able to get in here? Well, because they can go to survey and upload a list of emails or text messages of their clients and send it out and ask for reviews and then give their review link. I would just recommend Google preview, whatever, and it would send it out to all of the text messages and emails that they can load in, and then it's going to fully track the campaign for them. How many emails were sent, how many clicked the link, how many leave a good review, blah, blah, blah. And then the same for text messages. And of course, it's got the standard review funneling where it comes in and says, oh, well, did you have a good experience with us or not? If they had a good experience, we're going to ask them to leave a review. If they had a bad experience, clearly we're not going to. If they had a good experience, click to leave a review. Had a bad experience, leave us your feedback. And then we collect all the feedback and they get a view of their feedback. Also, for any reviews that were left, and speaking of management features, for any reviews that were left, if they go into reviews, and of course, if they authenticate in just by saying connect my Google or Facebook account, they can respond directly to the reviews that have been left for them in Google and Facebook from one centralized interface. If they like the review enough to want to have that review published on their website in their little review section, because they could put our review widget on their website, they just click the checkbox and it pushes it to the website. They can share the review to the social media to help push their brand. And of course, they can click to respond to the review, which will be a live response in Google or Facebook. Therefore, it's a management dashboard. Anyone know the retail going rate for what would be called a reputation marketing or digital reputation software? Anyone know retail rate on reputation software like I just showed you for a client? So if an agency in general is going to be reselling reputation software where the client manages it by themselves, around $100 a month. Catherine says 100 to 200. Dave says $67. I like the nice round number of about $100 a month. So this is included in the platform. Did you know that when you give the client access, Dave says he resells it for $295. Dave, is that a one-time cost of $295 or is that a monthly cost? There you go, monthly cost. And Dave, do you load in their list of text messages and emails of their clients and run their little campaign for them by pushing a single button, or you tell them to do it yourself? Dave, you tell them to do it themselves for $295 a month. Good man, you're making good money on that. Okay, fantastic. Well, and that did you know that you can so whenever you give your client access to the dashboard, and by the way, there's reputation marketing module is entirely unlocked for your client at no additional charge when you buy local SEO. Did you know that? Now, did you know that whenever you give your client access, you can not give them access to any portion of the dashboard? So that's important for you to know. So for example, if whenever you sell SEO, you wanted to upsell them into reputation marketing, do it yourself. You can do that. If they don't buy it, you can block them from having access to digital marketing, digital reputation portion. So I show them on my demo walkthrough to let them know what they get from me as a software as a service as part of my marketing. Now, how many of you have ever offered to a client their ability to use the social media management dashboard as a bonus to the SEO that you're selling them, for example? Do it yourself. Dave, how about you? Charging clients a couple $100 a month to use the social media management dashboard? Did anyone even know there was a social media management dashboard that you could offer to your clients, even if you're only selling them SEO? Jonathan says, yes, I use it. Awesome. This is, what's the best way that I can describe this? Like Hootsuite? Jonathan says that it is better than Hootsuite. Jonathan, do you mind telling me why it's better than Hootsuite? I may be biased, so better that it comes from you. But yeah, so in other words, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, you can come in, sync up your accounts, schedule all of your posts across all the different accounts, track all of your analytics, track KPI metrics from baseline to whatever you're evolving to in each one, and more and more and more. This thing is really in depth. It's really nice. Point being, whenever you're selling a campaign, particularly an SEO campaign to a client, take them on a dashboard walkthrough and let them know, hey, not only that, either included or as an upsell, you get this reputation marketing management interface for me, right? And then you get a social media management interface from me that I can give to you as well. Charge extra for it or give it to them because we unlock it for you as part of the SEO campaign. Jonathan says it's so much easier to use than Hootsuite and to allow clients to see what you have scheduled. Absolutely. Dave says the graphics for each one rocks. Awesome. So, and then also I don't take them through any of the other social media things, just the overview, and I don't go into it in depth. But also what I let them know is I show them, if it's a local SEO client, I show them the Google My Business feature off of analytics. And why? I'll show details to a demo account. I'll just let them know that they could come in here and update anything in their GMB account, anything on their Google My Business listing, because this is not just for reporting, guys. This is a management interface. So they can come in here and they can modify any of their business information. They can modify their website URL, business hours, but then they can also come in here and quickly view all their statistics. And of course, disconnected, but if they wanted to respond for reviews from here, if they want to upload photos for their Google My Business listing, modify photos for their Google My Business listing, they can do it from here, including their profile photo, cover photo, logo, and then they can control the different sections of photos. Furthermore, you can now post to Google My Business, right? And by the way, Dave says, by the way, more photos, the better. Dave, do you firmly believe that the more photos that you have in Google My Business, it increases your probability of having better rankings? Is that real? More photos, the better. More reviews, the better. And then, so local posts. So for those of you that don't know, you can post updates to Google My Business, which really could be anything. And of course, anything new in Google My Business, everybody freaks out and starts saying that it's going to improve your rankings. Maybe it does. But you can also schedule posts to your Google My Business from here, and the client can. So create a post, go in, write your post, mark it as an event or add it as a button even, schedule when it's going to go out, and you can fill up your whole schedule of when you're going to post. So the client could come in so far and use this as a digital reputation platform, do it yourself. That's worth at least $100 a month. They can come in and use the social media management interface to it, which is really good. They can now come in and manage their GMB, update their GMB, and schedule posts to their GMB from here. And then what else? One of the other things that I go through on a demo with them that I think is cool, and by the way, I skip Google Search Console and Google Analytics, but I go to site uptime monitoring, and then I let them know that, by the way, of course, for your website to be up, it's important. And even if your website down is sometime, it could hurt your rankings. And then I like to show them this. I like to show them that, for example, over the last week from date to date, over the last 7 days, we have checked to see if your website is online 2,256 times. And we found that it was down 0.04% of the time. If it's down more than 2% of the time, it's going to be a problem. And even if it's 1% of the time, we need to figure out why. Dave, you got to jump off the line. Sorry to see you go, but Dave said he's got to go upsell a new client. That's a good reason for jumping off the line. We'll see you, Dave, and let us know how that upsell went next time. So I go over site uptime, and then I like to show them heat map tracking because this is one of the more default what do you call it? Click reports that we provide is the heat map. And I like to show them that when traffic's driven to your site, naturally we should know where they're going to be clicking and going to. And we like to track that. It's impressive. It's really cool. And they get it. It's intuitive. So I do like to show the heat map. And then I move on. And the last thing I show them is the lead management. And by the way, it is lead management, which means they want to have login to the dashboard to be able to check it out. It's gonna show them and all the phone calls, forums, and live chats that have been instigated in the format of the call recording, taking notes on it, sharing the list with whoever, tagging it accordingly, and organizing. And it's not a full-blown CRM or lead management, but it does have a little bit. And then, of course, in calls, you can, well, for example, on the forums, if they click on it, it's going to show them the entire form that was filled out. And then I don't go into, so I show them the lead management overview. I don't go into form tracking deeply. I don't go into live chat. I just let them know that we have it for free for them to use and we capture leads from it so you don't have to man it live. But what I do show them, that's the last thing, I show them call tracking, which, by the way, if any of you know, how much does call tracking cost? It's like $15 a month to add on call tracking. Do it. But the call tracking interface is cool for them to be able to see that we can track calls by the source that they're coming in on, and that we can track, well, call source, yes, but the call log, so that, all the calls that come in, we have the recordings to them. So if they wanted to be able to, for instance, monitor and see how good their sales reps are doing, because to get into a little bit of business consulting, if you're going to drive 10 phone calls a week to a particular local client, their closing rate matters. It's everything. I mean, if they close 1 out of 10, I mean, they would need 20 to double their business in that, or they can just triple their conversion rate by training their salespeople or whoever's taking that phone call to do a better job. But how are they going to monitor the phone calls? They need to record them. Most people don't, especially local businesses. This records the phone calls. So they'd be able to come in and listen to phone calls and audit the sales calls that are coming through so that they can help train their staff. And then it also allows them to receive text messages. Anyhow, that's the last thing that I leave off with. And then I typically have a tab. That's not the last thing, sorry. And then what I will do is I'll go ahead and open, if it's for SEO, I'll go ahead and open a weekly SEO report, which you'll find in your demo, your library. And I'll open an example monthly SEO report, which I can find right here. So I'll open the weekly SEO report, and I'll show them really quick that not only we don't just report to you monthly. We touch base every single week with a report, going over your snapshot of your keywords on a weekly basis, any issues that we have found with your website. We're going to go ahead and audit on a weekly basis all the directories you have out there to make sure your name, address, and phone number are matching and they're still up. We'll report any problems that there are. We're going to stay on top of your review monitoring that's out there. Also mentions. Any publications that comes out about you regarding your company name, we're going to monitor it, and we're going to do a sentiment analysis to make sure that what is being published about you is good, and if something is bad, we report on it. So sentiment analysis. And then depending on what's set up, we'll also report on that, from call tracking to live chats instigated to forms that are filled out. Guys, these reports are generated on a weekly basis. Now, as you should know, you can put your logo on this, and send it out to the client. Now, your logo is automatically put on these whenever you white label this to your company. But wouldn't it be great if these weekly reports could automatically be sent to your client from the dashboard with your logo on it from your email address automatically? That can happen. So if you don't know how to do that, hit up the live chat or look in the help section, or just hit live chat. Remember, unmute your live chat, then hit up live chat and ask them how to white label the email that's going to send out the weekly reports to the client. Yeah. And then I quickly show them, and by quickly, well, that one's not loading. Let's see here. Maybe this one will load. And by quickly, I quickly show them the monthly SEO report. These reports are impressive. So the monthly SEO report is really long. I don't like to get into it with them, so I generalize it. I just give them the general overview, and then I let them know that how extensive it is. If we have areas of concern, we'll document all of it, all of our on-page optimization, issues with the website, progress with the website, and then the in-depth ranking analysis that we'll provide over to them. It goes on in the next section, in Google as well as Bing. And then the visibility breakdown specifically for them. So it's kind of like the weekly, but it's in much, much more detail. And then it's the reviews broken down on a monthly basis. So we'll show them what their new reviews were at what star level, broken down even further. And then on their top mentions, we'll break down even their top mentions and show to them. And then reminding them that, by the way, of course, you can click on this to visit your dashboard to find out more information. And then the work that we do is also on the work report with full links that you can see the content and the links and the brand expansion that you're building for them. The heat map is also in the report that comes out. Another report I won't talk about, another one. And then more work report line items. And then down towards the bottom, it's going to get into on-page optimization updates. And then if social media is synced with the account, it'll give some social media statistics, and then call tracking statistics and form tracking. It's a lot to go over, which is why I recommend more as you go over the monthly report, just saying how long and extensive it is and detailed it is. But it's more the impact that you're making on the lead that you have. So all of that, the ability to do that presentation is entirely in your dashboard. From the home, you go down to your demo projects and access that demo project. Okay, well, that takes us to the top of the hour, everybody. I'll go ahead and wrap it up pretty soon. Does anyone have any general feedback on demo projects? Do you plan on using it in the future to help you close any clients? Any feedback on other creative ways to use the demo project to help close clients? Okay, keep in mind that previous webinars you can find from pre-sale by going down to Marketing Library and then getting into webinar. So some of the top previous webinars that we've had: lead generation for marketing agencies, important dashboard features, client retention. And then I want to highlight one that I think you would like: bundling services for local clients. It's the ultimate local client service bundle that's out there. So you might find that one to be very interesting as well. All right, everyone, thanks for being on. Between now and then, keep in mind you can find help by hitting the live chat inside the dashboard. You can always fill out the plan recommendation, but you can also call in and you can ask to talk with a service consultant to help you if you're having a client. And as always, if you have a really big client, you're welcome to ask for me. All right, everyone, I'll wrap it up, and we will see you in 2 weeks from today. Take care.